And welcome back to the Circuito Internacional Algarve. It has been a very interesting battle so far this weekend. And after two great race weekends in Spain, we have travelled across to the neighbouring Portugal, and we have definitely given ourselves plenty to get excited about for the second half of this 2025 championship campaign. There is the Autodromo Internacional Algarve. We are slightly delayed, unfortunately, for this third and final race of the weekend due to some cleaning that needed to be taken place on the circuit itself from the previous sports car race. So that is why we are currently delayed. There was some debris and some liquids that were left out on the circuit. And as you all know, in motor racing, the last thing you want is a lot of single-seater drivers at the very beginning of their career slipping and sliding around like their drunk dads on weddings on roller skates. So these guys are giving a little bit more chance to clear the circuit. The pit lane is due to open currently at 3 p.m. local time here in Portimao, but it is worth pointing out that there have been several additional delays to that time since the original start to the proceedings at 2:30. So there could well be another couple of delays. What we can tell you about is the previous two races have definitely given us a lot to be going on with. The sense of rage and frustration that is creeping into the driving of the Dutchman René Lammers, having had a perfect start to the season from his point of view, having had 5 wins on the road from the first 6 races of the year. 3 of those, of course, were taken away with track time penalties in the previous runs at Aragon and Navarra. But earlier on today, you will have seen the fantastic race battle that we saw for Thomas Strauven. It was plain sailing for him in race 2, but certainly not for anybody else. And the big drama would come in the second race. You're going to see it over the course of our highlights, particularly when we saw René Lammers and Jan Pastrovsky lock swords. Now, in race 1 yesterday, René Lammers was in a completely different incident with his teammate Juan Cota. There was a safety car earlier on today that bunched up the field, but on the restart, we had one of the most dramatic moments of the season so far, and here it is. We're going to assess it again for you. Jan Pastrovsky battling away with René Lammers to the first corner, and neither driver prepared to give best. Here is how Jan Pastrovsky decided to go for it. Side by side with the Dutchman, neither driver decided to back out of the move. And there would be 2 more incidents with René Lammers and Jan Pastrovsky through the course of the race as well. We do not know the final outcome of those investigations, but we certainly know there's going to be more than one incident that the officials are going to look at. So let's talk you through some more of the dynamics from that earlier race. We saw this spin earlier on from Stepan Suslov. That would obviously slow the pack up. Then we would have another accident further up the run that would bring out another safety car. Here's the big first talking point. Pastrovsky and Lammers side by side down to turn 1. Pastrovsky to the inside, Lammers to the outside. Neither driver prepared to concede, and bang! They hit each other. And this is where it all starts to unravel for Pastrovsky. Lammers decides he's had enough of being pushed around. So once the 2 Red Bull Junior drivers get into 3rd and 4th place, Lammers realizes he's limited for options as to what he can race for. So when Petrovic and Pastrovsky start battling wheel to wheel, he sees an opportunity and decides to go for it. He dives big time up to the inside line. There's more contact. Pastrovsky's car is damaged, and Lammers somehow manages to force his way right round the outside of Pastrovsky and Petrovic. Pastrovsky would then limp his way back to the pits. Lammers would somehow find himself in 5th position, but he's under investigation for both incidents with Jan Pastrovsky on the same lap. So in terms of the championship fight, it could go very much against him. There were so many great wheel-to-wheel duels in that race. We also saw Nathan Ty working his way further forward. Rather unfortunate then that he has not previously been able to pick up the points from those incidents with additional penalties. What we did get, however, from the race is an understanding and a very clear sign that René Lammers is under massive internal pressure. He knows that having won 5 races on the road and only been allowed to secure 2 of them, that it's definitely not going to be easy for him to win this championship, especially now that Thomas Strauven, that man on your screen, was allowed to run away with his 2nd win of the weekend. He could make it 3 in this 3rd and final race of the weekend because he'll be starting from 2nd position on the grid. You can see the cars lined up at the end of the pit lane. The sunshine has gone behind the clouds a little bit more for this one, so the track temperatures could be a little bit cooler. At the moment, they are 43 degrees Celsius with an air temperature of 34 degrees Celsius. So it's very humid at the moment. But what we can tell you as well is that the speed of the wind has accelerated. The humidity is up to 20%. So this could be a much more interesting 3rd and final race of the weekend. And the first 2 have already been fair thrillers. But Thomas Strauven, having taken 2 wins out of 2, he's now going to start 2nd on the grid for the last race of the weekend with Jan Pastrovsky back into pole position. which is quite important for him as he failed to secure a single point in either race 1 or race 2 this weekend. Ian Eichmans and Miguel Costa are going to be on the second row of the starting grid. Great opportunity for the Brazilian driver lining up in P4 of the grid for this one. Then Juan Cota, who lines up in P5 with Noah Montero lining up in P6 of the grid. Nicholas Schaufler in P7, Mathis Reiber in P8, Vivek Kanthan is P9, and René Lammers is all the way down in 10th position. Portimao is turning into a bit of a nightmare for the former championship leader, and that doesn't bode well for him moving into these last 30 minutes plus additional lap for this challenge. It really will be a very difficult start to this part of the season. And let's not forget that in 2 weeks' time, the championship switches to its only non-Iberian weekend at Circuit Port Ricard 2 weeks from now at La Castellet. And then we will have an incredible 3-month break in the F4 Spanish Championship before we return in the autumn to the Circuito de Jerez on the 3rd weekend of September, and then we will have the Circuit Ricardo Tomo at Cheste in Valencia, and then finally the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Momelo, where the Formula One Spanish Grand Prix has been hosted there every single year since 1991. So this is an important race to finish off the weekend, and certainly leading into the next round of the championship at Paul Ricard, where the 3 races there will take us past the halfway point of the season, and then we'll go for our 3-month break. It's very important for drivers such as René Lammers to really cement their authority heading to France, and there's definitely a lot of pressure on the shoulders of the drivers to make that happen. Fortunately, as you can see though, the pit lane is now open. The drivers are heading to the starting grid, where our colleague Alex Garcia is waiting to greet the drivers. How stressed does René Lammers look behind the wheel this weekend, Alex? Are we just baffled by how difficult it has been for the Dutchman to hold his authority in race 1 and 2? In race 2, he almost looked like he'd lost the plot.
Hello, Jake. Hi again. And yes, absolutely. He looks like almost a completely different driver from what we saw at the beginning of the season. I have been talking to some of the people here in the paddock, and the general consensus is that MP may have been a little bit complacent. I'm not being unkind. Teams work very hard for every weekend, but it seems that MP were very, very competitive in the Spanish Winter Championship. We knew that. But perhaps they expected that the other teams, in particular Campos, would not be able to cut down that advantage, and they thought what they had was good enough. Clearly it wasn't, or it's been good, but it hasn't been good enough to dominate, and this has affected the drivers. It is true, however, that Ian Eggmans has been a lot more comfortable than Lammers himself, which speaks very well about Eggmans. But of course for Lammers it's a difficult weekend. As I was telling you yesterday, I was talking to his father, to Jan, and he was very calm about it. He was saying, look, you know, things haven't been going well so far, but let's just let the race happen and let's see what we get from it. I think that mindset does not speak only about the results, but also about the learning. Because we often forget that even though we are thinking about the results and about titles, about races to win and podiums to take, but these drivers are learning as well. And whatever René Lammers can learn this year, even if it's on difficult weekends like this one, is important for the future. So I'm sure that there's that. Particularly coming from his father, a super experienced racing driver, a very successful one at that. And I'm sure that he will know to give him that advice and say, look, this weekend has been hard, learn from it and come back stronger in the next one. And I'm sure that when we roll out the cars in Paul Ricard, he'll be there.
Well, we're currently running about half an hour behind schedule, and I noticed that as a result of the cleanup that needed to be taken place on the circuit itself, the drivers who normally only do 1 reconnaissance lap are actually doing 2 this time and going through pit lane rather than forming up on the grid to do the second reconnaissance lap. All these little factors that add into the 3rd and final race of the weekend, Alex, what are the chances that that's going to start to dig in and get it a bit frustrating for the mindset of those drivers? How difficult do we think it is going to be for them to keep their composure under the circumstances?
I think that's a very good test of mental fortitude for all of them. These are the kind of situations where, as we've been talking throughout the weekend, drivers like Thomas Strauben, who seems to be always calm, always under control, everything is, you know, relaxed and peaceful in his mind, or at least it seems to be. These kind of situations seem to favor him maybe more than other drivers who are maybe a bit more hot-headed. But it is important to deal with it in the best way possible. The teams knew already that they were going to do those 2 laps rather than the usual one. So drivers will, of course, have been informed. They will know that, and they will probably take the chance, I would imagine, to get that a bit more of information about how the track is feeling and all these things, which if a driver is smart, rather than making it into something frustrating, they must just say, okay, I have an extra lap to see how things are, and this could help me gather some information that will help me in the race. So let's see if they can get that idea in their minds. But yes, I do think that as young drivers who want to go out on track, it's already quite late compared to the original time schedule. So I imagine they're just eager to get on with it.
Well, we talked a little bit about René Lammers having a difficulty this weekend, but what about Jan Brasrovski, who's also really struggled in the first 2 races of the weekend? Didn't score a single point, which is unusual for the man who's been so consistent and so quick over the course of the weekend. How important is it for him to translate this pole position and the 2 points that go with it into a race victory to get his championship back on track?
He absolutely needs to get a good result now on this third race of the weekend. This kind of bad luck reminds me of some of the drivers who are here in Formula 4. As you know so well, karting sometimes can be really unfair. Mattia Cornaghi was one of those drivers who perhaps did not have the luck that he would have liked in karting. And some of this learning needs to be done in karting. If you are unlucky there, then you know that sometimes race weekends don't go your way even if you do everything perfect. Sometimes if you're lucky in karting, it happens in single seaters, in car racing. So this is an opportunity as well for Jan Priorsky. I should hope that he can get that learning, but it does feel unfair. It's very easy to feel for him because technical issues in race 1, that contact on race 2, and he could have been a candidate in both of those. So it is unfortunate more than anything because we lose more points for him in a championship that should be, rightfully speaking, between those 3 drivers that have been dominating the season so far, mainly Priorsky, of course, Strauben as well, who have been very clearly the standouts for Campos, for Griffincore, and also René Lammers. So I should want to see those 3 drivers duking it out until the end of the year. And who knows, maybe one of the rookies will be able to join if they have a good season. It's difficult, but certainly not impossible. So one of those things to keep in mind for the next events, for sure.
Another thing to keep in mind while we're talking about these things as the 3-minute board goes up, so we're going to get started in 3 minutes' time. There's Emma Felbermeyer on our screens at the moment for Rodin. But Alex, the battle for 4th position in this Drivers' Championship is going to be so competitive. We've seen it change hands several times over the course of this season, even from 4th all the way down to 10th, where Juan Cota currently sits in the championship. It is very exciting to see just how difficult it is going to be for drivers to keep the points elevation going through the season. We know that it's going to be a 3-way battle between Lammers, Strauben and Brasrovski. That's kind of how it's been since the start. But for 4th position in this championship, that could change hands so many more times before the end of this season. This is going to be pressure on the likes of Cota, on Eichmanns, on Schaufler, on El Fagali, on Franco. All these drivers will want to try and keep consistency up and bang in as many points as they can to secure that place.
I can imagine that fight for 4th place might even be even more exciting at times than the fight for the title, because it's going to have so many drivers with the options to get up there. And their objectives are so different, because if you think about Juan Cota, of course, you have to think that he is most likely going to be in Eurocup 3 next year. But other drivers who are in their first year, they might stay for another year to gun for that title. So different stories, different objectives, but all of them will want to be in that 4th place. But again, I know I'm being bold. I know this is a difficult goal, but I'm not discounting, any of these rookie drivers, any of those drivers who are currently fighting for 4th, to be aiming for something more. We saw last year how things changed throughout the season. We saw how Keanu Al-Azari started very dominating, and things little by little got more and more difficult. And as you often say, that's how the cookie crumbles, and that's what happened for him last year. So things could change throughout the year. So 4th is one thing, but let's not just limit it to that.
It's a very good point, Alex. We're going to let you crack on and do some more work for the Air Force Spanish language feed, and we'll come back to you over the course of the race. Gracias, mi amigo. So the 15 seconds board has gone up at the front of the grid now, and so we will fend our way around the course for the formation lap. Green lights on the gantry. So now we will have a 30-minute race plus 1 lap once the formation lap has been completed. Here's the grid in full. Jan Pesrovski along with Thomas Strauven on the front row of the grid. Then Ian Eichmans and Miguel Costa. Juan Cota and Noah Montero on the third row of the grid from Niklas Schaufler and Matas Reiber right up in 8th place. Vivek Canthan is alongside René Lammers to round out the top 10. Then in 11th place for Renault Franco, he's lining up alongside his teammate Hudson Schwartz. Then Chris Alfagali, difficult second qualifying for him. 13th on the grid, thank goodness he got a podium earlier. Santino Panetta in 14th position. Nathan Ty down in P15 along with Andrei Petrovic, another driver who really struggled. Then Alfio Spina and Filippo Fiorentino on the 9th row of the grid. To round out the top 20, we have Nacho Tunion and Francisco Monarca. Then Alex Jacobi and Sasha Van Pat Bosch. Stepan Suzdov and Gino Trappa. Then we have Lorenzo Campos and Kyoho Lee, the Korean driver, Santiago Bastarica and Alexander Begunovic. Then Caden Higgins and Daniel Dalakian, Viktor Dobzhansky, Andrei Rodriguez, and at the back of the field on this occasion, it's the Rodin driver, Emma Felbermeyer. So we were talking there a little bit about the battle for 4th position in the Drivers' Championship behind the top 3 drivers, Thomas Strauven, Jan Lammers, René Lammers, I should say, and Jan Pesrovski. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, Jan Pesrovski in 3rd position. But the top 3 drivers are pulled well clear from the rest of the pack. But from 4th position down to 10th, heading into the second race this morning, was just 16 points covering them. So it really is very tight at the top end of the field. And consider the fact as well that Niklas Schaufler, Chris Fagali and Nathan Ty, who were 11th, 12th and 13th in the standings, were also scoring big. There's about 10 drivers in this championship that could be best of the rest. Behind Strauven, Lammers and Pesrovski. Eichmans, Franco, Schwartz, Petrovic, Montero, Canthan, Cota, Schaufler, Ty and Elfagali. They're all very evenly matched, those 10 drivers, and one of them is going to be best of the rest. But we also want to consider, so far in these first 8 races of the year, Strauven has won 3 times, Pesrovski has won 3 times, Lammers has won twice. So we've only had 3 winners over the course of this season so far. Who is going to be the 4th? And could that 4th driver emerge today? Ian Eichmans and Miguel Costa are on the second row of the grid. Cota and Montero are on the 3rd, Schaufler and Reiber are on the 4th, and Vivek Canthan joins René Lammers on the 5th. So there's still plenty of drivers that could knock on the door of a race victory as early as 35 minutes from now. So Jan Pesrovski, the Polish driver, lines up on pole position. 2nd place on the grid for Thomas Strauven, the man who's won 2 of the races so far this weekend. Could he claim the hat-trick? He's definitely looking very strong for that. And whatever happens now, it is very clear that Thomas Strauven is not going to be losing the lead of the championship until Paul Ricard at the earliest, because of how strong he has been over the course of the first 2 races this weekend. His rivals, Lammers and Pesrovski, have struggled to score points, never mind score victories. But Pesrovski is back in pole position for the 2nd race of the weekend. So far, MP have struggled at Portimao, both in Eurocup 3 and in Spanish F4. So now it's time to end the weekend in the F4 Spanish Championship on a high note, hopefully, for both teams. Campos and MP want to come straight out of the blocks here and go for a victory. There is the final driver in the field, Emma Felbermeyer, out of the F1 Academy and into the fire of the F4 Spanish Championship. She lines up in position, the green flag flies, and for the 3rd and final time this weekend, the Autodromo Algarve will ring to the F4 Spanish Championship. Let's race for the last time in Portimao. Good start by Eichmans. Couple of drivers not getting away at all. It looked like Kyoho Lee of the Rodin team as Eichmans goes straight past and into the lead of the race. From the 2nd row of the grid, Ian Eichmans has hit the front. Fantastic for the Belgian Ian Eichmans, who now goes into the lead ahead of Pesrovski and Strauven. And Strauven is going to get up the inside of his teammate. Strauven will get into 2nd. Pesrovski is going to come back at him. So Ian Eichmans is into the lead of the race, but the Gryffindor boys, Pesrovski and Strauven, are going wheel to wheel, and there's drama already. There's some some front wing damage there. That looks like René Lammers trying to work his way past one of the Red Bulls in the background. Juan Cota is still there in 4th position. So Lammers trying to make up for some of the lost time in qualifying. Chris Fagali drifting wide and going off the course as well. But it's Ian Eichmans who has gone straight into the lead here at Portimao after a sensational start from the 2nd row of the grid. Just when we thought that it's going to be Eichmans, just when we thought it was going to be Pesrovski, Strauven or Lammers that took another victory. But can Ian Eichmans be the man to make a 4th different race winner this season? Now there is debris on track in turn 2. The start procedure is under investigation. And Chris Fagali's gone off the road. Chris Fagali in the Red Bull Junior colours for Drivex has gone off the road. Chris Alfagali in sector 2. We're going to pick him up on our cameras very soon, I think, but Chris Alfagali has dropped right to the back of the field. Disaster for the Lebanese driver. So Chris Alfagali is now down at the back, and as they come through to complete the first lap, we'll figure out the order, but it's Eichmanns from Prestrovsky, Straven, Kota, Montero, and then Costa ahead of Schaeffler, Lammers, Francote, and Matas Reiber. Well, the debris on the track is clear at the second sector now, so as long as everybody's still circulating, we can still race. And Chris Alfagali has got going again, albeit at the back of the field. So disaster for the Lebanese, but you can see Juan Kota already putting Thomas Straven under some pressure for third position. So with Straven looking good for another podium, it's Ian Eichmanns who leads the way at the present moment. So Eichmanns leads, Prestrovsky second, then Straven, Kota, Montero, Schaeffler, Costa and Lammers as Nathan Tye gets ahead of Hudson Schwartz through sector 1. Gino Trappa also getting ahead of Alexander Jacobi, and Andre Rodriguez has got ahead of Felbermeyer and Dalakian. 3 drivers coming into the pits then at the end of the opening lap, and 2 of them are from the Thibaut Courtois Racing team. Santino Panetta and Alfio Spina both in pit lane, and so too is the Drivex of Chris Alfagali. So they've all come into the pits to repair damage. Very unfortunate indeed for all 3 drivers. Their chances of victory are now long gone. So Ian Eichmanns has pulled over a second clear of Jan Prestrovsky, but the question is, can he sustain this gap? Once Prestrovsky is in a strong position, he's going to be hard to back down from, and then the 2 TC racing cars of Santino Panetta and Alfio Spina return onto the circuit. I'm not sure if Chris Alfagali is going to, as Santiago Bastarica and Sasha Van Bosch have lost places, as Emma Felbermeyer gets back in front of Andre Rodriguez further back. But out in front, Ian Eichmanns is your leader in the red Richard Mill-backed MP Motorsport car. So, after a weekend where Campos have been the leading force, it is great to see Ian Eichmanns keeping MP's chances of victory alive this weekend. They really are going to be pushing all the way to the victory. Campos, of course, took victories earlier on with the Griffincore car of Jesse Carrasquedo in Euro Cup 3, and with Ernesto Rivera earlier on in the Campos Racing Machine in race 3 of the weekend. But there's not been any joy for MP Motorsport this weekend in either category. Thomas Straven picking up 2 wins for Griffincore. And then, of course, MP now currently leading the way with Ian Eichmanns as we go wheel to wheel. That's Lammers and Miguel Costa. So René Lammers up into 7th place now, ahead of Miguel Costa. Gino Trappa's got ahead of Francisco Monarca, and Santiago Bastarica has also got a move on Alexander Begunovic further back. But René Lammers is trying to shake off his opponents, and back down the inside comes the flamboyant Miguel Costa. And he's going to make sure that René Lammers has got nowhere to go. Lammers trying to rejoin alongside Miguel Costa, but Costa is not going to back down from René Lammers. He's not in the fight for the Drivers' Championship. He's got very little to risk, and still they go side by side, and René Lammers holds it on. A spin from behind. That's Renault Francote. The other Dutchman spins to avoid his teammate. Renault Francote loses the back of the car, and still Miguel Costa is dueling away here with René Lammers, trying to get on terms with the former championship leader. Lammers is holding his nerve here, ahead of Miguel Costa. Yellow flag at turn 8. Now I do wonder if there's going to be a safety car. No, it doesn't look as though there is, because Renault Francote has got going again. Interestingly, incident involving car 25 under investigation for overtaking out of the circuit. That is Francisco Monarca. So Francisco Monarca apparently has made an overtaking move off track rather than doing so in the confines of the track. So that could be investigated. There's Ian Eichmanns pulling away from Jan Prestrovsky. Then Thomas Straven in 3rd place. Kota, Montero, Schaeffler, Lammers, Costa, Reiber and Petrovic in the top 10. But Lammers has lost a lot of time battling with Miguel Costa. That is not going to help the Dutchman at all. And it would have done a lot of damage to his tyres as well, having that kind of intense battle. Meanwhile, we've got Reiber, Petrovic and Tye. They're battling away for the final points-paying positions. Vivek Kanthan is not far away there in 12th position. Nathan Tye is going to dive up the inside of Petrovic. Not a lot of room. They bang wheels, and the British boxer is going straight after Petrovic there. Trying to make his bid on the inside line, and that's another dive from Straven on Petrovsky. So Straven trying to get on the inside of Jan Prestrovsky, but it doesn't work on this occasion. So Thomas Straven not afraid at all to battle wheel to wheel with his championship rival. Straven looking for a 2nd place run. He thinks, if I can get ahead of Jan, then I can put Ian Eichmanns under enough pressure. I can go for this hat trick. I can still do it. So Straven giving Pesrovsky plenty to get excited about here in second position, but the Pole has got to maintain his discipline here. Thomas Straven has got very little to lose. Even if he doesn't finish this race, he won't be losing the lead of the championship until France. So for Thomas Straven, he may as well go for it. Debris on track, clear at turn 3. So well done to the marshals, the Orange Army, who have been cleaning up the course and rescuing cars and clearing up debris when needed. They've been working very hard indeed this weekend. We can't race at all without them, so we are very much indebted to the Orange Army around the circuit. There's Ian Eichmans pulling away in the lead of the race. The gap has opened up now to 1.6 as he comes across the line. This time, it's going to be closer to 2 seconds now that Pesrovsky's been battling away with Thomas Straven. No, in fact, the gap's come down. It's 1.4 now, and that's why Jan Pesrovsky didn't want to let Thomas Straven through, because now he's getting a little bit more pace than Ian Eichmans. He wants to come back at him. Eichmans can push hard at the start of the race and build a bit of a cushion, but he's not got the experience of looking after these tyres in this car on this track that Jan Pesrovsky and Thomas Straven have. They've got the upper hand here on Ian Eichmans. So it's all going to come down to the Belgian out front to see if the rookie Ian Eichmans can become the first rookie this year to take a victory overall in Spanish F4. Nacho Tunion and Gino Trappa have both got ahead of Hudson Schwartz. So that's dropped the American down into P16. Straven's still swarming all over Pesrovsky in the hope that he can work his way further forward. Kota, P4. Montero, Schaufler. And then 1.6 seconds behind him is René Lammers. 5.6 seconds back. So very tricky stuff indeed. There's 2 incidents at turn 8 that are going to be investigated after the race. The first of those is the 11 of Renault Franco when he spun, and then the other of those is Viktor Dobzhansky of the Technicar by Amtog team. Not entirely sure what they're supposed to have done, but certainly it's enough to warrant an investigation as the battle continues on between Pesrovsky and Straven. Straven is really trying to get ahead of the pole, working hard to force his teammate aside. But Straven really is putting a lot of pressure on the man in second place. Meanwhile, Nathan Tai has lost out to Miguel Costa. Matas Reiber is there just in front of Vivek Kanth, and Andrei Petrovic down to 12th now in front of Fiorentino, Tunion and Gino Trappa. So there is Juan Kota trying to close up on Straven, but he's having very much a race of his own at the moment. You know what this front-running battle needs, don't you? A safety car, ironically enough, because Ian Eichmans is holding his lead, but try as they might, Pesrovsky and Straven can't quite get close enough to him to challenge for the victory. So if we get a safety car, this is suddenly going to become a much more intense battle up at the sharp end. Kota is just trying to manage tyres at the moment in P4. I wonder how many drivers would have actually suspected that there would be a safety car and planned their strategy accordingly. So Eichmans over the top, Pesrovsky, Straven, Kota and Moreno. Little bit of a snake under braking there for the Belgian Thomas Straven. Still looking very neat and tidy as they work their way up the hill once again. And the Belgian rookie, Ian Eichmans, in the red Richard Mille-backed MP Motorsport car, still looking good in the lead of this race here, but Jan Pesrovsky has got the gap down to a second. So now the pole is bouncing back. He is finding the pace to get back on terms with Ian Eichmans, and it's all about tyre management here. So Straven is the quickest driver in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Eichmans is the quickest driver in Sector 3. But the man who has the fastest lap of the race is Pesrovsky. The pole is ever Mr. Consistent around these races. And so he's able to continue putting good work in to keep this car alive in the battle. Alexander Jacobi has got ahead of Francisco Monarca. The teammates at Monlau having a fairly clean race between them. Every single driver is currently circulating. Santino Panetta and Alfio Spina, along with Chris Alfagali, all rejoined after their incidents. Trappa has dropped to the back of the grid now as well, I'm afraid, after a separate incident. So Gino Trappa is now down in 29th ahead of Renault Franco, Santino Panetta, Alfio Spina and Chris Alfagali. So a very difficult race for the Lebanese fans watching along, with Chris Alfagali now out of the top 30 after an incident on lap 1. We'll never know exactly what that looked like, but I'm sure that fans of Chris will be able to keep an eye on things on his social media account to get all the latest updates from his perspective. Right, there is an incident in turn 1 noted. That is the 17 of Nacho Tunion and the 48 of Gino Trappa. So that must be why Trappa dropped down the order. Look at the start again from Ian Eichmans, just launched forward. Perfect getaway. I wonder how close that was to being a jump start, because for Ian Eichmanns that looked pretty rapid. And so he's able to launch ahead of both of the Griffin cores. But he had plenty of confidence coming into this one as the leading rookie. He's been very strong. Now, here's what happened with Renault Franco. Look, he tries to go for the move on the inside of Lammers, and suddenly at the last minute he realises, yeah, he's not going to give me any space at all. I'm going to have to slam on the brakes here. And unfortunately, if you slam on the brakes in an F4 car, the back end is going to overtake the front very quickly indeed. It behaves a bit like a kart in the same sort of handling. But no, now we've got an issue for Ian Eichmanns. He's got problems and pressure. Masrovsky and Straven are catching him up. This race isn't over at all. Ian Eichmanns made a good position to pull away, but did he push too early? Because now Masrovsky and Straven, who've been steadily running together in unison, they've been looking after the tyres, and now they've got a chance to get back into it. And there is Gino Trapper, having just gone back out onto the circuit after his pit stop to check for damage. He and his teammate Chris Alfagali now down at the back. But check out the slipstream that Petrovski's going to get here on Eichmanns. By the time they get to turn 3, he could be snapping at his heels going for a move. Half a second at the line. Another 4/10 back to Straven. Straven still fancies another shot at second place. But it's all very calculated. You can't just go gung-ho and hope you're going to get the move. You have to wait for your opportunity. And Eichmanns very nearly gave it to Petrovski there. Petrovski's so fast through Sector 1. Straven is pretty quick there as well, so they're able to get very good pace and very disciplined turn in through that particular section of the course. So it's always going to be a very tricky race battle for them, but look how quickly Petrovski has got back on terms with Eichmanns. Straven is with him. This is not going to be easy for the Belgian rookie to sustain up front. And so lap after lap, little by little, Petrovski and Straven have eaten away at the advantage beat up by Ian Eichmanns. He managed to get 1.6 seconds clear of them at one stage. But being a rookie, he's not quite as versed at looking after the tyres as his rivals behind him are. They've got a year of experience in this car. They know that you don't push too early. If you go ugly early, then the tyres will fall away from you quickly, especially here at Portimao. And Petrovski is now spitting exhaust fumes for Ian Eichmanns in front of him. Petrovski make the bid here into the left-hander. Well, Eichmanns is defending. It's like karting all over again between these three. Working their way further forward. Fourth place there for Juan Cota, trying to stay with the top 3, who are really jockeying for position now. They come off the turn, and this is going to be a very tricky lead to defend now for Eichmanns. Petrovski's going to be all over him as they come off the final corner and up the crest along the main straight. Eichmanns is going to have to be glued to the main part of the course on the pit wall. He's got very close in behind, but Petrovski's still going to pick up good slipstream. Eichmanns needs to make one clear move to defend the position from the pole, but Straven's going to go with him, and surely Petrovski can hold this round the outside at turn 1. He tries his best, and he's made it. Jan Petrovski gets into the lead. Straven's going to try and make the same bid on Eichmanns into turn 3. Oh, Ian, it was going so well. But now both the Griffin cores have got him. Jan Petrovski into the lead. Thomas Straven into second. And that is exactly what the fans back home in Poland wanted to see. Jan Petrovski has turned around 2 miserable races into the lead here at Portimao in race 3. So big situation for this race, as once again Straven has been into second position behind Jan Petrovski. A very tough race battle for the victory. Ian Eichmanns third position. Juan Cota P4 from Montero, Schaufler, Lammers, Tai, Costa and Reiber. But the more we watch this duel unfold up front, the more we realise that Ian Eichmanns has not yet found the ultimate run of tyre management. Just seems to push very early in the first half of racing. He hasn't really been able yet to figure out what's been going on with this car, with the setup. Or maybe it's an MP issue. Maybe it's not Ian Eichmanns, but he manages to get himself into the lead early enough, and then the Campos guys just have plenty of strength in order to catch him up again. So Petrovski, Straven, Eichmanns, Cota, then Montero and René Lammers. So Kota is now trying to close up on Ian Eichmans, but the one man that he doesn't need to be caught by to win the rookie class is Noah Montero behind Kota. You do wonder, don't you, if the MP team have just got it wrong on tyre pressures. They just don't quite have the same amount of pace. Right, Pesrovsky and Strauven have got ahead of Ian Eichmans, but I don't think it's over yet. Strauven, who's very confident indeed around the Portimao circuit, he was able to get ahead of Eichmans as well, and now he's suddenly found the pace to stay with Pesrovsky. I don't think this race is over yet. Eichmans in third, Kota in fourth, then Montero, Lammers, Schaufler, Nathan Tai and Miguel Costa, with Matas Reiber in 10th position for the moment. Strauven is working hard here to close up on the race leader, 3 times a winner. Jan Pesrovsky looking for a very solid race victory. And of course, if Pesrovsky stays where he is, this will be his 4th win of the season, but it will be the first time it hasn't been handed to him in the steward's office afterwards. So it will be very satisfying for Jan Pesrovsky, and he does need it after 2 non-finishes this weekend. He needs it to get himself back into the hunt for the championship. But with Lammers struggling to score good this weekend, and it looks as though Thomas Strauven is going to be in course for 2nd place. Strauven will lead the championship with Lammers and Pesrovsky relatively close together. So around the hairpin and up the crest once again for Ian Eichmans. He is cannon fodder to Juan Cota. Meanwhile, Strauven has got slipstream on his teammate. Not this lap, but maybe the next one. Oh, Strauven is not prepared to give best to Jan Pesrovsky. He knows he's very close indeed to wrapping up the hat trick. He's going to go for it! Charges in on his teammate. Whoa, Thomas. Goodness me. The man was absolutely adamant there was a big enough gap, and Jan Pesrovsky made sure there wasn't. But that tells you just where Strauven's head is at. He's going to try again. Down at turn 4. He draws level with Pesrovsky in the braking zone. Slow in, fast out. Trying to go back after him up the hill. We've already seen what happens when the MP teammates collide. Lammers and Cota yesterday. Will the Griffin Core guys keep it clean and fair all the way? Certainly Pesrovsky got into the wars earlier on today with René Lammers. He certainly doesn't want to get into the wars with his own teammate. That really would be embarrassing. Thomas Strauven really wants this hat trick. He wants to win all 3 races at Portimao, and he's got the pace to do it. So Pesrovsky's got to keep his head firmly on his shoulders. He doesn't want to spend too long looking in his rearview mirror, but he wants to position the car so that he is in the best control. Let's see how close this got between Eichmans and Pesrovsky initially. Perfectly judged around the outside from the pole. Magic. That is how you take the lead in an F4 race at Portimao. And even Strauven was able to set up another bid on Eichmans into the next corner. No worries. I wonder if they're going to show us this latest bid between Strauven and Pesrovsky. Yes, here we go. First part of the corner, it's all A-OK. I really wanted them to carry this on, but we haven't got time because now Strauven is going to have a bigger attack on Pesrovsky. Here they go, down the straight. Strauven's going to have him, surely, round the outside. Thank you. I'm back into the lead at Portimao. The Belgian has got past his teammate Jan Pesrovsky, but Pesrovsky's not done. Trying to go long in the brakes at turn 3, but it's job done. Strauven has worked his way back into the lead. Thomas Strauven leads this race, and now Jan Pesrovsky is going after him. But Strauven is having to defend his position because Pesrovsky is getting very close to him in the braking zone. The roles are reversed, and Thomas Strauven now leads. Meanwhile, there's problems further back as Alexander Jacobi in the Monlau is losing countless positions. I have a feeling that could be a retirement for Alex Jacobi. Seems to have spun all the way to the back of the field this time by. He's lost a lot of positions, but I don't know if that's a safety car. Green flags are flying, in fact. So the green flags are flying. I think he just spun off the road and dropped back. But certainly, at this moment in time, it's Belgium all the way. Thomas Strauven, 1 race 1, 1 race 2. Now he could win race 3. Let's see a battle further back. This is about to get messy. Oh, that is how messy it can get in the midfield. And that is how the 17 of Nacho Tunion pirouetted around. So, very interesting to see how it continues. But Strauven is now leading this one with 9 minutes to go, plus the additional lap. Bosrovsky is still trying to stay with him at the moment as Chris Alfagali has brought the Drivex car back into the pits, and I don't think it's coming out again. So Bosrovsky trying to get the slipstream here behind Thomas Strauven. You see that Strauven can pick up the slipstream easier on Bosrovsky than Bosrovsky can on Thomas Strauven. Meanwhile, Juan Cota is really trying to pressure Ian Eichmans into a mistake. He saw how Strauven and Bosrovsky were able to get ahead of him, and he thinks, right, well, I can get ahead of him as well. I'm as good as he is. Third position is on the march here. Incident between 17 and 27 will be investigated after the race. That is Alexander Jacobi and Nachatunion. Those are the two drivers that hit each other as Juan Cota locks up in his bid to try and put Ian Eichmans off his line. Two MP teammates. Renan Lammers is in P6. So still a very intriguing situation for the contenders at the moment. Juan Cota hustles Ian Eichmans up the crest. Now they go down the drop. They call this place the roller coaster. It is a big change in elevation, in undulation, in camber, and into the pits. That is one of the Monlaus. That is Alexander Jacobi. And it looks as though Alfio Spina is trundling down pit lane as well for the TC Racing team. So that's two drivers into the pits. So once again, into the braking zone for the hairpin. Juan Cota trying his best to close up on Ian Eichmans. There is Alfio Spina. Not the way he wanted this race to continue. So now you can see Strauven ahead of Bosrovsky. Ian Eichmans is under big pressure here from Juan Cota. Juan Cota coming off the turn. He's going to have the slipstream here. Up the crest, down the straight, and surely Juan Cota is going to be very forceful in his bid now to get ahead of Ian Eichmans. Eichmans isn't going to do too much work to stop him making the bid, but he is going to try and hold it round the outside. Juan Cota breaks late, and so the Spaniard gets in front. Juan Cota into third position. Ian Eichmans' time on the podium overall is now complete. But Eichmans is still the leading rookie, in front of Noah Montero and then ahead of Nicholas Schaufler. So still the battle rages, but Bosrovsky is still keeping Thomas Strauven honest here at the lead of the race. He's not really dropping from pace. In fact, Bosrovsky was actually quicker than Strauven in the first sector. So it's still fairly even between the two of them. But 6 minutes to go, plus the additional lap, and Thomas Strauven is looking really solid in the lead of this race, looking good to wrap up the hat-trick. To the braking zone up the crest again for Juan Cota, trying to close up on these two. He is the MP Motorsport bandwagon leader, trying his best to close up on these Griffin cores, but it is still a very, very tough run for the MP team. We just haven't quite got the setup right here. It's clear that Griffin Core and Campos as an operation have had the better tools for the job on this occasion. So let's see how we continue this mark forward up the hill. Thomas Strauven leads Jan Bosrovsky, two drivers who have had very solid careers in the world of karting that ended at the end of the 2023 season. Thomas Strauven ran with the Ricky Flynn Motorsport team, the Belgian coming out of the same stable as the likes of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri in their karting junior days. So Thomas Strauven has definitely learnt from the same creed. And Jan Bosrovsky, very talented racing driver in his own right. The pole was the junior European karting champion a few seasons ago. So he definitely has great talent and fantastic potential. The Tony Kart Racing Factory team absolutely adored this boy when he was in their awning. And he's got a massive potential for the future, Bosrovsky, when you consider that Poland is still waiting for its second Formula One star after the brilliant Robert Kubica. We've still got quite a few Poles working their way up the ladder at the moment. Kasper Stuka, Maciej Gladish, and of course now Jan Bosrovsky. Plenty of great talent to work their way further forward. And he's definitely had his credences over the years. He had an opportunity with the Ferrari Driver Academy a few seasons ago as well. So the talent is definite and certainly not up for debate. Now he just needs to keep working and keep the opportunities coming his way. And to be fair to him, he is really hustling Strauven sector by sector here. There's not much to choose between them. So this is definitely looking very strong at the present moment. But as I say that, he just coaxes it a little bit far to the line in the S's. Drops down the crest, lets the car run down a little bit more. But still, Thomas Straven holding his nerve here in front of Petrowski, who is matching him for pace at the moment. In the sectors, you can actually say there's not much between them at all, because Petrowski was slightly quicker than Straven in Sector 1. In Sector 2, Straven was slightly the quicker man. And that's important to know, because the teammates are going to be fairly evenly matched in terms of raw pace. Petrowski quicker than Straven in Sector 3 as well. So in a straight line, Petrowski is able to use the slipstream to good effect to stay with Straven. He just hasn't quite got the tenacity in the sectors to make it work. Right, here comes René Lammers, right on the tail of Noah Montero. And we've already seen the desperation and the urgency of René Lammers this weekend. In race 1, it all went wrong. In race 2, he got more aggressive. So what can he do in race number 3? Can he reach the top 5? He's got just under 3 minutes plus the additional lap to do it in an F4 Spanish Championship race at Portimao that has not had a safety car. I'm just touching wood to say that, because it's very difficult to comprehend that an F4 Spanish Championship race in Portimao wouldn't have a safety car. But that's exactly where we're at. So Straven going very well indeed here. And certainly looking very, very strong in terms of pace at the moment. But a very, very strong run from the man in 5th position. Noah Montero having a very solid run for all of the contenders as they continue on their way. René Lammers P6 from Nathan Tighe, Nicholas Schaufler, Miguel Costa and Vivek Canthan. Here's the replay. This is how Juan Cota got the most basic of overtaking moves done on Ian Eichmann's into 3rd place. Had the run and a very solid effort from all of the contenders as they run through. Now here's further back. This is the 57 and the 32 locking swords. Got a little bit close for comfort there between Caden Higgins and Victor Dubshansky. Higgins got the move done initially and then had to concede the move. And we've got a little bit more drama going on further back. That is Kyoho Lee going wheel to wheel there with Santiago Bastarica, who's turned his weekend around a little bit, having been dead last in one of the race grids. So just a very strong charge as the contenders continue. But Straven in the lead of the race. Yes, he took it from Petrowski, but fair play to the pot. Oh! Off the road and bedded in the gravel. That's a long way in. That's Andre Rodriguez for the 2nd time this weekend. So Andre Rodriguez definitely having a very tough battle out there on the course. But I'm afraid Andre Rodriguez has spun off the road at turn 10 and 11. Now he's gone quite a long way in, and we are told yellow flags at turn 10 and 11. It doesn't look like they're going to take this to safety car, because Andre Rodriguez has actually gone quite a long way into the gravel trap, and he is out of harm's way there, so they can cover that with yellow flags. The point I was going to make before Andre Rodriguez's car skated off the road is that although Straven has got into the lead there, and he's been very quick all weekend, Petrowski has not let the Belgian get away at all. That's how far into the gravel he's got. I don't think they need a safety car for that. I think they can cover that with yellow flags. So I think that's okay. But Petrowski has actually stayed within half a second of Straven ever since he made the move on him. So fair credit to Jan Petrowski, who has definitely worked his way further forward and kept himself into position. Right, car 62 will stay at the current position till the end of the session. So nobody's going to go and recover Andre Rodriguez. I should point out as well that Renault Franco has retired from the race as well. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Renault Franco, but he's also retired from the race on the same lap. As we go into lap 18, the final lap of this 3rd race of the weekend. And Thomas Straven, as long as he holds on to this for the last lap, with only a 0.7 of a second advantage over his teammate Jan Petrowski, is going to do the unthinkable, it has to be said. It is so hard to consider winning 3 races in a single weekend. And you could argue, to a certain extent, that René Lammers has done that this season. But of course, one of those races at Nevada was taken away from him. So if this race is not taken off Thomas Straven, then he will be the first driver in 2025 to win 3 races out of 3. Up the top of the hill. And Thomas Straven, the Belgian, ahead of the pole. Jan Petrowski, who has been pushing him all the way, is going to finish this job in fine style. Juan Cota looking good for 3rd position. ahead of Ian Eichmans and Noah Montero, the two rookies. Third on the rookie podium is set to be Nicholas Schaufler. There is Renault Franco's car parked up and out of the race. But out in front, it is the Belgian, Thomas Strauven, who is going to finish the hat-trick in magnificent fashion. The Griffin Core team are going to come through for a 1-2 here, and it has been masterful ever since the start. Thomas Strauven in front of Jan Pasrovsky. They've been nose to tail since they both got ahead of Eichmans. Strauven got the move on Pasrovsky. Now he will come out of the final turn, and after winning race 1 and winning race 2, Thomas Strauven will extend his championship gap even further, heading to Paul Ricard. He is the ipso facto championship leader of the F4 Spanish Championship. It's a hat-trick for Thomas Strauven in Portimao. Fantastic work from Thomas Strauven this weekend. Jan Pasrovsky is second place, I should say. And Juan Cota is third in front of Ian Eichmans, the rookie winner. Noah Montero is fifth for Portugal in Portugal. And René Lammers has to settle for P6 in front of Nathan Tai, Nicholas Schaufler, Miguel Costa. And the last point will be scored by Vivek Kanthan. Looks like Matas Reiber has been given a penalty post-race. He will not come through to finish in 13th place ahead of Francisco Monarca. But that does not affect the points. So, following in the footsteps of Franco Colapinto and Nikola Solov, as rightfully pointed out by Jack Monaghan, who is one of our staunch F4 Spanish Championship fans, Thomas Strauven has pulled off the hat-trick. Not many men have done it, but what a performance from the Belgian. On the road, René Lammers joins that list, but of course, at the Circuito de Nevada, he got 2 penalties in race 1 and race 2. The win's taken off him. And so, there are just 3, to my knowledge. Franco Colapinto, Nikola Solov, and now Thomas Strauven, who have all taken an F4 Spanish Championship hat-trick on a weekend. Excellent work from Thomas Strauven, and a very deserving victor he is indeed. And that, of course, will put the Belgian into the lead of the championship, heading to Paul Ricard in 2 weeks' time. After that weekend, we will have a 3-month wait. So it's very important for the drivers to take full advantage of the situations they will have given to them next time out in France. But for Thomas Strauven, it's been absolutely dominant over the course of the season. Of course, Alvaro Manzanek has also pointed out to me that Juan Cota, of course, picked off the hat-trick last year at Valencia on the circuit Ricardo Tormo. So that's 4 drivers then, to my knowledge. There might even be a 5th, but after such an exhausting weekend, I'm going to have to go and consult the record books. But what a result for Thomas Strauven. He takes the victory for Griffin Core, with Jan Pasrovsky in second place in front of Juan Cota, then Ian Eichmans, Noah Montero and René Lammers, ahead of Nathan Tai, Nicholas Schaufler, Miguel Costa and Vivek Kanthan. The rookie podium, Schaufler in third, Montero in second and Ian Eichmans as the rookie winner. He finished 4th overall. And so, on the overall podium, Juan Cota is third. Jan Pasrovsky bounces back in second, but it's a jubilant victory for the 3rd time in a row for Thomas Strauven. What a sensational result. As through come the contenders from the Griffin Core team. They have taken a long time to come back into the pits after this one. Thomas Strauven wants to savour the moment. There's not many men who have taken a hat-trick. Colapinto, Solov, Cota. I have a feeling there's one more actually, but certainly for Thomas Strauven, he is the first man to get the triple in 2025. There is Noah Montero parking his car into position because he was the 2nd best rookie. There is Jan Pasrovsky, who cruised back in 2nd place. But the victor, for the 3rd time out of 3, is the Belgian Thomas Strauven. What a performance. What a commanding display. Portimao in Portugal, the circuit that always denied him in karting just across the road from here. In F4, Thomas Strauven is the king. Absolutely fantastic. He may not have dominated the race. He didn't start from pole, and he lost ground initially to Ian Eichmans. But what a sensational battle it has been from Thomas Strauven. who absolutely romps this weekend. Win after win after win. Still, nobody else other than Strauven, Bosrovsky and Lammers have got a look in on the victory dais this season. But crucially, Thomas Strauven now takes the lead of the championship, and he has the most wins this season. 4 out of 9. Absolutely fantastic work from Thomas Strauven. The first 3 weekends of the season have been victorious for him now. 3 wins for Bosrovsky, 2 for Lammers, although he will argue it's actually 5. But Thomas Strauven, it cannot be disputed, is now the championship leader. And he has a fairly sizable advantage now heading to the last weekend of the summer in Paul Ricard. Then there will be the 3-month hiatus, and in the autumn we'll come back to Jerez, to Valencia, and then to Catalonia. But what a fantastic display for Thomas Strauven. He doesn't just win once, he doesn't just win twice, he wins 3 times, and he's speaking to Alex Garcia.
Thomas Strauven, how was that? The fingers on the hands? 1, 2, 3, 3 wins on the weekend. How does that feel?
Yeah, amazing. Coming away with 3 out of 3 wins here in Portimao was quite impressive, with also the headwind and all the races, which was really hard to drive it. But yeah, I think we managed everything very well, and yeah, I think up to Paul Ricard, let's say.
Does this feel particularly good, considering that maybe Portimao during the karting times wasn't as kind to you as it could have been?
You mean the karting track here?
Yeah.
Well, I really like the karting track here as well. I obviously like both of them, so I was also good in both of them. So I think we maximized our weekend in Paul Ricard, in Portimao, and yeah, now we need to stay focused for next week.
Expectations for Paul Ricard are high?
Well, I hope I can maintain the lead and try to fight for podiums and wins.
Now I have to ask you about your secret to keep that cool mind on the track, because today it wasn't easy on the last race, because that fight for the win was definitely intense. You came from behind, overtook, and went ahead. What's the secret then?
Well, my start wasn't really great, but then I tried to stay calm and fight from there. And we catched Ian both of us were catching Ian quite fast. So in the beginning I was trying some attacks, but then I thought let's just take it calm and let him attack first Ian. And then we drove a bit away, and yeah, we made the move in T1 around the outside.
Good job then. Time to enjoy it again. Congratulations for the 3rd time this weekend, and time to celebrate.
Thank you.
That is our single race winner this weekend, Thomas Strauven, who has been outstanding here in Portimao, and who has given us a little bit of an insight on what is his mindset like when it's time to fight. He said it himself, the start wasn't good, but then after that it was all about picking up that lost time, overtaking the rivals one by one, and making it to the checkered flag. He makes it sound so simple, and yet I can tell you it is not.
Yeah, it's so hard to win 1 race in the F1 Spanish Championship in a weekend, never mind 3. But it just shows you his mindset and the team's mindset as well coming into the weekend, both in Euro Cup 3 and the F4 Spanish Championship. Campos really took a leap forward this weekend in terms of strategy, in terms of setup, in terms of their discipline. Now we go to Paul Ricard for both championships 2 weeks from now. It's going to be fascinating to see where the mindset is going to be. There's a lot of drivers who are going to have to play catch up. Surely MP Motorsport have got to go back and do their homework. We are seeing on our screens now Ian Eichmans, who had the pace initially, but the Griffin Cord duo of Bosrovsky and Strauven were just too strong. What are they going to have to do now to work their way back into supremacy later on?
Well, certainly the work in those 2 weeks, which is not a lot of time, by the way, is going to have to be very intense, particularly from MP Motorsport, which is, I think, the only team that is reasonable to expect to challenge for wins in all 3 races comfortably, let's say. Yes, the situations may favor another team, but we have to consider MP as the main candidates to upset Campos. I've talked to some of the people in the Eurocup 3 team, and they are confident enough that they will be competitive in Paul Ricard. They're not expecting things to be the same way they have been this weekend. Formula 4, it might be a little bit trickier, but I think if there's one team that can fight for it, it's MP. We know that they are one of the dominant forces of the championship, and they have been for the past few years, or I would say since the championship started. So I would be very surprised if they don't react, even if it's just in 2 weeks.
So the other question I want to ask before we get to Paul Ricard, Alex, is that we've got 3 drivers that have won every race this year, Straven, Petrovsky and Lammers. Is there anybody out there that can get to the top step of the podium before them? Is there anyone out there that can break that deadlock?
I think we've seen some drivers being close enough that we have to expect that they could do it. Ian Aikmans is one of them, definitely. Juan Cota is another one that we should expect to be a candidate for race wins. So I am hoping and expecting that they will bring that heat into the next races. Not sure if it will happen in Paul Ricard, if it may happen in one of the events later down the season in Spain. But I think if there's one driver who can do it, it's one of those.
Well, fair play, Alex. Great to have your company. Thank you so much for being with us, my friend. Your company's always been fantastic. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time at Paul Ricard. And so to the podium, the final time this weekend in the F4 Spanish Championship. Juan Cota in 3rd place, Jan Petrovsky in 2nd position. But on the top spot, it's Thomas Straven, the Belgian, has done it in fantastic fashion 3 times over the course of this weekend. What an amazing performance from the Belgian. And so there we are. It's a very hectic weekend at Portimao, which has had a lot of drama, a lot of intrigue, a lot of consternation, as well as badinage. But the top 3 drivers on the final race of the weekend are the stars. Juan Cota, who definitely keeps his hopes of the title alive in 3rd place. He could do with a win or 2, which of course he pulled off a hat-trick of last year at Valencia. So he knows exactly what Thomas Straven feels like, as of course do Franco Colapinto, Nicolas Solov, Kaz Havercourt, Hugh Barter and Christian Ho, who are now joined by Thomas Straven in the hat-trick of F4 Spanish Championship Weekends Club. And of course the other man who is part of that is the late great Dutchman Delano van 't Hoff. So the contenders receive their trophies. It is wonderful to see Thomas Straven complete the hat-trick here in the F4 Spanish Championship. We really have had a fantastic run of races here at Portimao. 2 weeks from now, the racers will return in magnificent fashion to the Circuit Paul Ricard, the former venue of the French Grand Prix at Le Castellet. So we'll allow the drivers to celebrate in style and get busy with the fizzy on the Portimao podium. A massive thank you to everybody, for you guys at home for watching. From myself, Jake Sanson, from my partner in crime, Alex Garcia, from our line producer, Jaime Severa Goliu, and everybody at the Killite Agency. We've had a fantastic weekend in both Eurocup 3 and the F4 Spanish Championship. Join us again for both championships 2 weeks from now in the French countryside, not far from the city of Nice. From now on, though, it's a fantastic Portuguese paradise for Thomas Straven of Belgium. See you in 2 weeks' time for the action in France.